everyone, Phoenix61 here. How is it going today? We are playing New World Aeternum for a change of pace for me, right? So, I've gotten into this game lately, and yeah, we're going to do some Starmetal harvesting today, right? So, this Brightwood area, well, basically right in the middle of the map, and we will go to the town called Cavalry City. And that's going to get us pretty close to where I kind of like to harvest a bunch of Starmetal. There's a few different areas, but basically we're going to kind of where this bear cave is, and we're kind of going to basically circle around it and harvest various things. I'm going to put a waypoint on the map that's kind of right between that church and that cave there, and we will head off in that direction. The way that, so you Starmetal, you're using that for various, crafting and making tools and all the other, and smelting, all the other fun stuff, right? So, if you need Starmetal, this is a good route to take. I do have a few others, so I will probably post some other videos as well. But basically, and with other materials as well, too, so if you're interested in something in particular, let me know. But basically, I head kind of over towards this church, and you can already see along this sort of mountain cliff edge over here that we're looking at across this river here, there are several deposits of Starmetal, but I'm not going to start there. We'll kind of work our way around. If you're desperate, or if there's a lot of people on the server or in your area, right, you might want to, if that's what you're looking for, you might want to go over there. But right behind this church, there are several trees of the Wyrdwood, if that's how you're supposed to say that, right? So I also get this. So this is kind of my, my theme behind when I do, when I go out harvesting materials or farming specific materials, right? I typically have one thing in mind, but usually along my route, I try, I pick ones that have other materials that I can kind of collect that I need and or use and or could sell, right? And then another thing too, you can go into this church as well. There are a couple of chests in here, so there's one or two level like 29 guys in here that are fairly easy to take down if you're above that level, right? So there's an alchemy stockpile, and then I think just sort of a regular chest right here as well. Yeah, a regular supply stockpile. So I always kind of lace those into my routes whenever possible, right? And I'm just going to ignore these other guys, right? And we'll head back over to where the Wyrdwood trees are, and we'll kind of start our Starmetal harvesting over here in this direction as well. But yeah, I kind of like to lace several things into my routes for material farming. One, because, in this instance too, I'll show you, but like basically by the time we get kind of done with it, sometimes you can circle back around, like, right, if other people aren't in the area, you can circle back around, and sometimes those materials are already starting to respawn back, right? So I basically like to do kind of a circle pattern, right? But so we're right here in between on the mini map where where that church and the bear cave was. So right at the bottom of this waterfall, this is almost right where we had put the marker, right? So there's a couple of Starmetal veins here, as you can see. And then there are, so this is where we're at, right? You can see the settlement, Brightwatch, or, we're just to the left over there, right? And so we're going to kind of circle around this mountain here. There are a couple of deposits that are kind of up in this area where I'm kind of looking, right, just off to our left. But they're kind of a pain to get to from down below here. So what I'll do is as we go around this mountain here, we'll come back and grab those. But yeah, it's one of those things, like I said, if somebody's over here, which a lot of times there are, I feel like sometimes this is a popular one for my server, right? So, and it can be pretty crowded. So if they're here, like, I literally will just go, if there's more than one person over here, I just go and do something else right in the game. But so this is kind of the route that I will take. And as you kind of work your way down this mountain, right, you can see more and more, right? So you just kind of hug the left wall here as you go around and just mine the Starmetal when you find it. And so we'll get these deposits here, and then we'll move around. The other things that this area is good for, right, so Starmetal is kind of where I'm at, and then we've got the Wyrdwood. This is also really good for thick hide. And then there is some Silkweed right down there where I was looking as well. So there's a little bit of Silkweed you can lace in here, right, if you want to kind of, waste a little bit of time in hopes that some of these other materials will come back, right? And then this is also good for silver as well. There's a couple of silver deposits along this route too. So if you can sneak your way up here on your mount, right, you can get to these other ones, right? We're basically just hugging the left wall here as we circle around. So there's 2 more Starmetal deposits here, where we're at here, right? So I'm just circling around this mountain that has this bear cave in it. And then we will go into the bear cave as well. That's going to be where the silver and a lot of, you know, easy pickings for thick hide is as well. So yeah, there's kind of basically, you know, Starmetal's kind of the star of the show here, but there's basically, I don't know, like 5 or 6 things that we're kind of working on getting. So there are just, in this area, especially as you come up the mountain, there are tons of these Grayville bears, right? And then so that's where you're getting that thick hide from. And then go just across this road here. There's usually some, I don't know about quite perfectly memorized, there it is, right? So there's usually a couple deposits over here as well. So these are ones where if there's other people over in this area kind of yoinking all your materials, right? Sometimes these are ones that people don't think to grab or don't know about. And then there's a few more as well that I'll show you later in the video here as well. So yeah, just stay tuned because we're nowhere near done yet here at this point, right? But basically I continue to work my way up and keep to the left here as we work our way up the mountain. And then here, as you come up this side, I always forget, there's not another deposit there on that one, right? We already got it. That was just like the level below. But yeah, we'll take out this Grayville bear, right? And you don't have to do these, right? If you're not interested in the thick hide, you can just kind of try and avoid these bears if you want. But there is a honey tree here, so I typically grab that. And then after you know, if I have too much honey, I end up just, you know, selling it or whatever, right? But yeah, so we'll continue to kind of hug the left wall here. And then this is where you're going to find the entrance to the bear cave. And so there's a boss bear in here, right? There's a side mission or something that I think, you know, brings you over to this guy to kill him. He does have, like, I think he's got like 1 or 2 unique drops as well. So I've seen people in here literally just waiting for this guy to spawn. But yeah, we'll kill him, get a bunch of thick hide, and then there's all of the little cubs in here. They also all drop pretty good amounts of thick hide. I do have decent tools that give me like a little bit better yield and stuff like that. So these numbers aren't purely raw numbers, but right. So then in here, there's several silver vein deposits, right? So I always grab these. And then, like I said, like, yeah, if there's other people up here, of course, you know, these are going to be slim pickings, right? But usually by the time I'm kind of done with this whole area, sometimes I can go back and you can see some of the Starmetal and the Wyrdwood and some of those other things starting to respawn back. But on the opposite side of this cave, there's more Starmetal here. And then now we're back up at the top of the mountain. And so this is where it's a little bit easier to get at those the Starmetal veins that are kind of trickled along the higher ledges here. So down there is the church where we kind of originally started, right? So there's still some Wyrdwood that I didn't harvest at all, but that's where we kind of started. And so as we work our way down the side here, right, and this is where I put my marker originally after coming out of the settlement, right? So we'll work our way down the side of the mountain here and just same thing, just kind of hug the left wall here as you work your way down and do that almost the same loop again, right? Just we're higher up this time. And so there's just even more Starmetal here. So we're up to 404. I'm pretty sure I started at 0 here. So we're at 404 of the Starmetal ore at this point. And then I do think that somebody else does end up being over here at some point. But yeah, so these ones down here are the ones that we originally grabbed, right? You know, that was from our first circle around, and then same with these here, right? So we'll speed past those, but that's kind of the route that like I take. And then there's a couple more things that I want to show you here. So there's more Starmetal very, very nearby. So I'll go to that, but first we're gonna go and I'm gonna show you. So these other Starmetal deposits, right, that I'm going to show you later towards the end here they're ones that I think that less people that they're close enough that it's worth just walking over there. But I think less people know about those than people know about the ones that we're doing right now. But over here at the other side, the opposite side of the bear cave, there are a couple more of the Wyrdwood trees, right? So you can grab these if you're also interested in the Wyrdwood. right? So a couple more of those. There's some, you know, some of this, you know, river crust. There's all sorts of just random stuff in here that if you don't care about, right? But the Wyrdwood, there's enough deposits here to make it worth it to come over here for Wyrdwood as well. And then we'll go back up, right? So up here is the opposite side of the bear cave, right? And all in these woods here, there's several more bears and other like kind of little things that you may or may not care about, right? But here's the other end of the bear cave, right? So that's where we're at now. And so behind that bear cave, right? So here's the, you know, around this corner, this is where that big Starmetal deposit was as we came out the other side of it. Right, so, but up here, even still, there's more Wyrdwood on this level as well. So there's another player in front of me that's probably going for those. And then over here, this is something that I typically grab just because it's kind of on the way back and forth, right? More Silkweed as well. So if you're, yeah, it's one of those things, if you don't care about it, or if you're just kind of up here killing time to try and wait for, you know, those other things to kind of respawn or re-trickle in, right? I'll come up here and kill bears, get their hide, right? And then go after this Silkweed and all that other fun stuff, right? And then, yeah, so, excuse me, there's the bear cave. We kind of basically just did a big circle around it for the most part, right? So then the other section where there's a good amount of Starmetal is this little cliff over here. So basically we'll go back down the mountain, kind of like what we did. So yeah, you could take this route, right? If you came up here and then we're only interested in the Starmetal, right? You could come up, back up here, do your circle around, hug the left wall here, and then head towards where I dropped my marker, right? So we'll speed over there as quick as we can, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I think in this instance here that I was in, or for you know, this time that I was doing this route, somebody had already harvested it, right? But yeah, so the church is still off to our right. There's some more Silkweed off over there as well. And then yeah, these bears will spawn all day long for you over here. But yeah, so we'll just kind of cut through this direction here. I'm kind of heading towards where I put my marker. I think I maybe put it a little off to the right too far, right? But I just stick to the left of this river and then cross right here at this like sort of fork in the river here, right by this waterfall. And then all along the top of these rocks here, there's more Starmetal deposits, right? So yeah, so I was a little off with where I put my marker, right? So that point here. But yeah, so you can't see them because somebody's already mined them all, but there's one or two down here, right? And then I'll just walk across so you can see where they're at. But yeah, they're always harder to spot when somebody's already mined them, right? But there's one or two here, and then I just kind of walk across the top of this. Yep, there's two more, right? And then we'll just keep going, right? So this is a good spot as well. I just keep going until I don't see anymore, right? So this is a good one where, right, like if that first area around that bear cave is kind of overcrowded, or there's some people over there, I'll go and check these little cliffs. And then if I do still need to kill the time, right, there's a couple more deposits of Silkweed over here, right? So basically, yeah, you're gonna spawn at that settlement, right, in, you know, Calvary City here. And then I put my marker right in between that church and that bear cave. And that's where I head first, because that's where that Wyrdwood is. And then you just make that circle around that bear cave, right? And there's those few deposits, right? And then a few other spots of Wyrdwood. And then come back down here to where we are now. Along this ridge here, some easy pickings for Starmetal as well, right? So, and then yeah, you do you. If you're interested in the thick hide, you can go for the bears. Right, as you can see, the guys over here are around level 30, so you'll want to be at least that high, right? Otherwise, you're gonna be playing games trying to avoid all the enemies, right? Which you could probably do a little bit. You could probably get a lot of that Starmetal by avoiding enemies, but I am going to go and grab these Silkweed, and then I'm going to call it quits for the day, guys. That's going to be our video for our sort of first Starmetal route, right? There are more to come. I do have some, I think, Runewood videos in the works, and Iron video in the works, and some Mithril mining as well already in the works. So look out for those videos. So right, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you're kind of interested in sort of my personal hotspots for mining. But yeah, we do videos every day, right? So I usually play World of Warships Legends, but we're having some fun with this game too. So make sure you're following, and we'll see you next time.